Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata by Vrndavana Thakur, who is an incarnation of Vedavyas, incarnated to present Chaitanya Leela. Vedavyas presented the Bhagavatam and a lot of other Vedic scriptures. So he's also presenting the Chaitanya Leela in the form of this Chaitanya Bhagavata. It's interesting because there are several verses where Vrndavana says, and in the future Vedavyas will expand on the glorification of these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, which are unlimited pastimes. And he says, in the future, Vedavyas will expand on them. And he is the incarnation of Vedavyas. So it's interesting when he does that. He says that in several different places in the Bhagavad. Om Agnati Mirandasya Gna Gna Salakaya Chakshun Milatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my most humble, respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So this is Antya-Leela, Chapter 5, description of Lord Nityananda's pastimes, and it's a very long chapter, so this is part 2, and we're taking up here at verse 421. After some days, in his heart, Lord Nityananda desired to see Mother Sachi. Accompanied by his associates, he began a glorious journey to Navadvip. Thus, the Lord came to the temple home of Purandar Pandit in the village of Kadadaha Gram. I have no power to describe how Lord Nityananda danced when he came to Kadadaha Gram. Now, become like a wild man, Purandar Pandit climbed a tree and roared like a lion. External consciousness no longer present in his body, Chaitanya Das would run like a tiger into the jungle. There he would jump on the tigers' backs. By Lord Krishna's mercy, the tigers had no power to attack him. Cheerfully and fearlessly, he would sit down with a python in his lap. He played with the tigers. All this happened by the great Avaduta Nityananda's mercy. Lord Nityananda is very affectionate to his servants, and with a glance he allows them to taste the spiritual nectar even Brahma and the demigods cannot attain. Completely forgetting himself, Chaitanya Das always spoke whatever was in his joyful heart. Once, he stayed underwater for 2 or 3 days without any pain or discomfort in his body. And sometimes he would be stunned and motionless. Other times he'd be ferocious like a tiger. I have no power to describe the symptoms of devotional ecstasy Chaitanya Das displayed. They're all endless. Anyone who touches even the breeze that blows by Sri Chaitanya Das or by Murari Gupta will attain Lord Krishna, that's for certain. Some people who call themselves by the name Chaitanya Das, servant of Lord Chaitanya, never, even in their dreams, chant Lord Chaitanya's glories. Sri Krishna Chaitanya is the master of life for Advaita Acharya. It is by Lord Chaitanya's mercy and by devotion to Lord Chaitanya that Advaitacharya has become glorious in truth. Glory, glory to Advaitacharya's devotion to Lord Chaitanya. By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, Advaitacharya has attained all power. Truly saintly people say Advaitacharya is glorious because of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Other people think this idea is an offense to Advaitacharya. Though they may call themselves by the name Chaitanya Das, these people are worthless, like a pile of ashes. How can sinners like them take shelter of Advaitacharya? These sinners may call themselves followers of Advaitacharya, but they do not know what is truly in Advaitacharya's heart. A cannibal may call himself by the name Punyajana, saint. As a cannibal calls himself a saint, so these people call themselves Chaitanya Das, servants of Lord Chaitanya. And after staying for some days in Kadadaha Gram, Lord Nityananda and his associates went to Shaptagram. In Shaptagram is the place of the 7 sages. Throughout the universe, this place is known as Triveni Ghat, the place where 3 rivers meet. In ancient times, the 7 sages performed austerities at this ghat by the Ganga. There they attained Lord Krishna's feet. 3 goddesses, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, met at that place. That is why this place is famous in the 3 worlds as Triveni Ghat. By seeing this holy place, one destroys all his sins. Accompanied by his associates, Lord Nityananda joyfully bathed at this ghat. On the bank at this place, where 3 rivers meet, Lord Nityananda stayed at the home of fortunate Udarana Dat. With his body, mind, and words, Udarana Dat sincerely worshipped Lord Nityananda's feet. Udarana Dat became qualified to serve Lord Nityananda directly. What greater good fortune can anyone attain? Birth after birth, Lord Nityananda is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Birth after birth, Udarana Dat is his servant. Because of Udarana Dat, all the merchants there became purified. Of this there's no doubt. Lord Nityananda went there to deliver the merchants. He made those merchants qualified to attain ecstatic love and devotion. Going from house to house among the merchants there, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes of kirtan. All the merchants took shelter of Lord Nityananda's feet and worshipped him in every way. Seeing how the merchants were worshipping Lord Krishna, everyone in the world felt wonder in his heart. Lord Nityananda's mercy is an ocean that has no shore. He delivered all those foolish, lowly merchants. Accompanied by his associates, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes of Sankirtan at Shaptagram. Even if he had 100 years to do it, no one could describe all the Sankirtan pastimes Lord Nityananda enjoyed at Shaptagram. As he had enjoyed in the towns and villages of Nadia, so Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes at Shaptagram. Every direction was filled with the Sankirtan of Lord Hari's holy names. Now there was no day or night, hunger or thirst, sleep or fear. From house to house, in every village and crossroads, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes of kirtan. No one had ever seen anything like the ecstasy Lord Nityananda manifested. Wild ecstasy like this had never before been manifest in the universe. What to speak of others, even Muslims who hate Lord Krishna, now took shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Streams of tears of ecstatic love flowed from the Muslims' eyes, tears that made even the Brahmins rebuke themselves for their lack of devotion. Glory, glory to saintly Lord Nityananda, the moon of Avaduts. By his mercy, everyone became filled with bliss. In this way, Lord Nityananda enjoyed joyful pastimes at Shaptagram and Ambika Kalna. After some days, Lord Nityananda went to dear Advaitacharya's home in Shantipur. Gazing at Lord Nityananda's graceful face, Advaitacharya could not understand how much bliss had suddenly taken birth within him. Hari, Hari, he roared. He circumambulated. He offered Dandavata obeisances. Embracing Lord Nityananda, Advaitacharya sprinkled his limbs with tears of joy and love. Gazing at each other, they both became overwhelmed. A limitless and indescribable sweet nectar of love took birth within them. Embracing each other, they rolled on the ground. They struggled to touch each other's feet. They roared like lions. They seemed to defeat many millions of lions. They could not restrain themselves. The two lords were now wild with ecstasy. After some time, the two lords became peaceful. The two peaceful lords sat down together. Folding his hands, noble-hearted Advaitacharya joyfully offered prayers to Lord Nityananda. Because you are eternal, Nitya, bliss, Ananda, personified, you bear the name Nityananda. You are Lord Chaitanya's glories and virtues personified. You are the protector of all living entities. You're the cause of liberation. You're the preacher of the true religion. You preach loving devotion to Lord Chaitanya. You bear all the power given by the Kalpavriksha tree that is Lord Chaitanya. You are the transcendental teacher of Brahma, Shiva, Narada, and all others who bear the name devotee. It is from you that they attain devotion to Lord Vishnu. Still, no pride even touches you. You're the purifier of the fallen. Do not see the faults of others. Only the great saints understand you. Your form is the resting place of all yagnas. By remembering you, one breaks the bonds of ignorance. If you do not reveal yourself, who has the power to understand you? You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, blissful, free from anger. You are thousand-faced Anantasesha, the first of the demigods and the holder of the worlds. You are Sri Lakshman, the killer of the Rakshasas. You're a Gopa's son. You are Lord Balaram personified. To deliver the fallen, lowly, degraded fools, you've now descended to this earth. From you, everyone will attain the pure devotion the sages and the kings of yoga yearn for. Overcome with bliss, forgetting his own self, Advaitacharya glorified Lord Nityananda with these prayers. Advaitacharya understood the power and glory of Lord Nityananda. Only some few fortunate souls know Lord Nityananda's heart. If a person knows the truth, he knows that the quarrels of Nityananda and Advaita are only joyful play. Who has the power to understand Lord Advaita's words? Please know that Lord Advaita is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Exchanging auspicious talks about Lord Krishna, these two lords enjoyed blissful pastimes. Lord Nityananda and Lord Advaita exchanged many secrets. Perfect love for each other was born within them. Then, after taking permission from Lord Advaita, Lord Nityananda went to Navadvip. First he went to Mother Sachi's home and bowed down before her. Seeing Lord Nityananda, what happiness did Mother Sachi feel? It has no end. Mother Sachi said, "Son, you are truly the super soul staying in the hearts of all. I wished to see you, and now I do. Knowing my heart, you hurried here. Who in this world knows you? Son, for some days please stay in Navadvip. Then I will see you for 10 days, or 15 days, or a month. I'm full of sorrow. That is why I yearn to see you. By the Supreme Lord's arrangement, you've come here to deliver unhappy me." Hearing Mother Sachi's words, Lord Nityananda smiled. He knew that Mother Sachi's power and glory had no end. Lord Nityananda said, O Mother of everyone, please listen. I came here to see you. My desire to see you is very strong. With your permission, I will stay in Navadvip." After talking with Mother Sachi in this way, Lord Nityananda joyfully wandered in Navadvip. With his companions, going from house to house in Navadvip, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes of kirtan. In these kirtans in Navadvip, Lord Nityananda became like bliss personified. Going from house to house with his companions, Lord Nityananda always enjoyed pastimes of Sankirtan. Elaborately dressed as the great wrestler of Sankirtan, how charming was Lord Nityananda. Simply by seeing him, everyone attained piety and bliss. On his head was a turban of many different kinds of silk. Above that were many different graceful flower garlands. On his neck were necklaces of gold, pearls, and many kinds of jewels. On his ears were peerless earrings of pearls and gold. On his wrists and arms were golden bracelets and armlets. I do not know how many flower garlands decorated his body. His every limb was anointed with sandal paste and gorachana. His pastimes were always like those of Lord Krishna, as a small cowherd boy. With his 10 fingers, each wearing a golden ring, he playfully held a wonderful iron rod. He was playfully and splendidly dressed in wonderful, colorful yellow, blue, and white silk. A flute and a bamboo rod were stuck in his belt. Seeing him or remembering him, the people of the world felt their hearts drawn to him. Silver anklets glistened on his graceful feet. His words were sublimely sweet. His walking and gestures were graceful, like the king of elephants. In whatever direction Lord Nityananda looked, the personified nectar of pure love for Lord Krishna at once appeared. In this way, Lord Nityananda very happily enjoyed pastimes in Navadvip, the place of Lord Chaitanya's birth. Navadvip was like the royal capital of Mathura. Many people lived there. I do not know how many. Seeing the saintly people there, a sinner would become free of the greatest sins. Also, touching the shadow of the sinners there would destroy all piety. By Lord Nityananda's mercy, the people there were sincerely attracted to the path of devotion to Lord Krishna. Many had already been saved by Lord Chaitanya. Now Lord Nityananda would deliver everyone else in the 3 worlds. Lord Nityananda delivered many swindlers, thieves, and fallen sinners. Here, please hear how Lord Nityananda delivered many thieves. In Navadvip lived a Brahmin son who had no peer among the thieves. He was a Brahmin in name only. His heart was filled with evil. He was the commander of an army of thieves. There was no mercy in his body. He always happily stayed among thieves. Seeing Lord Nityananda's ornaments and glistening necklaces of gold, pearls, and coral, and seeing the many valuable things that decorated his graceful limbs, the Brahmin thief decided to rob them all. Concealing his desire to rob the Lord of his wealth, the thief stayed always in Lord Nityananda's company. In his heart, Lord Nityananda knew this wicked Brahmin was not a good person. A good Brahmin named Hiranya Pandit lived in Navadvip. He had no material possessions. Associating with no one else, Lord Nityananda now stayed in the home of this fortunate devotee. Meanwhile, the evil-minded Brahmin thief met with other thieves and told them his plan. "Oh, my brothers, why should we be unhappy any longer? Mother Durga has brought a great treasure house of wealth to a place nearby." On the limbs of Avadut Nityananda are many ornaments of gold, pearls, and diamonds. There is nothing like these ornaments. What is the money value of these ornaments? I do not know. Mother Durga has put them all in one place. Now they're all in Hiranya's house. In half an hour we will rob them all. Taking our swords and shields, tonight we'll go there and attack. Agreeing on this plan, the thieves met at night. Armed with swords, daggers, and tridents, the thieves went to the place where Lord Nityananda stayed. Sending a spy ahead, the thieves waited at a certain place. Meanwhile, Lord Nityananda was eating, and in the 4 directions the devotees chanted the holy names of Lord Hari. Lord Nityananda's companions were wild with the ecstasy of love for Lord Krishna. One devotee roared like a lion, another made a sound like thunder, another, tasting the nectar of love for Lord Krishna, wept, another clapped his hands and loudly laughed. "Hi, hi, hi, hi," another exclaimed, filled with bliss of love for Lord Krishna. No one slept. The spy returned to the thieves. "The Avaduta is eating. Everyone's awake," was his report. The thieves said, "Let them eat. When they're asleep, we'll attack." Happy that they would soon plunder great wealth, the thieves sat under a tree. One of them said, "The gold bracelets and armlets are mine." Another one said, "I'll take the pearl necklace." Another said, "I'll take the earrings." Another said, "I'll take the gold necklace." Another said, "I'll take the silver anklets." Their minds were absorbed in these thoughts. By Lord Nityananda's wish, the goddess of sleep came and put a veil around those thieves. At once the thieves fell asleep. They were all unconscious. They were all bewildered by the Lord's Maya. The dawn came. Still, they were not awake. When the crows cawed, the thieves awakened. They did not even see the night. They were unhappy at heart. They hurriedly hid their swords and shields in the forest. Then the thieves hurried to bathe in the Ganga. At the end, the thieves returned to their own place, and they violently quarreled. One of them said, "You fell asleep first." Another said, "You slept very soundly." Another said, Why should we quarrel? Today, saintly goddess Durga will rescue us. The wicked Brahmin, who was the commander of that army of the thieves, said, Why should we quarrel? Whatever happened was all goddess Durga's will. One day may pass. That does not mean all the days are gone. I think goddess Durga bewildered us. We did not worship goddess Durga before we left. That's the reason for all this. Tonight, we will all worship goddess Durga. We will offer her meat and wine, and then we'll go to the same place. Agreeing to the plan, the thieves offered meat and wine and worshipped goddess Durga. The next day, they cleaned their weapons, dressed in black clothing, and left. The night was very dark. Everyone slept. The thieves assembled. Approaching the house, the thieves saw many tall men guarding the four directions. Standing in the four directions, the armed guards again and again chanted the holy names of Lord Hari. They were giants. They were powerful and ferocious. Their weapons were raised. The thieves saw that each of those giants had the power to kill 100 thieves. The giants had flower garlands around their necks and sandal paste on their limbs. Again and again they chanted Sankirtan of the holy names. As Lord Nityananda slept, the giants in the four directions sang Krishna. Seeing this, the thieves became filled with wonder. They left the house and sat down together. The thieves said, From where did these guards come? One of them said, Somehow the Avadhuta must have known. He asked the guards and brought them here. Another said, My brothers, this Avadhuta is a great sage and a philosopher. Again and again I heard this from many mouths. The saintly Avadhuta has great knowledge. He can protect himself. We all saw those guards. I don't think they were human beings. I think this Avadhuta has great mystic powers. That is why people call him Goshai, our master. Another thief said, My brother, you're a fool. How can anyone who eats as he does and decorates himself with fancy clothes as he does be a Goshai? The Brahmin, who was the commander of that little army of thieves, said, I know the reason. Some big, important person must have come to see the Avadhuta. An emissary from the king must have come, and these giants were his personal bodyguards. Those bodyguards were all religious fanatics. That's why they chanted Hari, Hari. While the guards are here, we should not come. After some days, they'll leave. For now, let us go to our homes. My brothers, for 10 days, let us quietly stay at home. When the leader had spoken these words, the thieves returned to their homes. Meanwhile, Lord Nityananda, the moon of the Avadhuts, enjoyed pastimes as he wished. Whoever worships Lord Nityananda's feet and remembers them breaks all obstacles into pieces. Who has the power to place obstacles before Lord Nityananda? Who has the power to place obstacles before the Supreme Lord? Simply by remembering the Lord's servants, one breaks all ignorance into pieces. Ganesh and all his associates are all servants of the Supreme Lord. Shiva, who destroys the worlds, is an Amsa incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Who can bring fear to Lord Nityananda? When the Lord's Amsa incarnation, Anantasesh, moves, all the worlds tremble. By his own will, Lord Nityananda performed kirtan in all of Navadvip. By his own will, he enjoyed pastimes of eating and sleeping. His every limb was decorated with priceless ornaments. He looked exactly like Rohini's son, Balaram. Lord Nityananda chewed betel nuts mixed with camphor. His gentle smile charmed the heart of every person in the world. Fearless and blissful, and accompanied by a host of fearless and blissful devotees, he went everywhere. Another time the thieves made a plan and came to the house where Lord Nityananda stayed. By the Lord's arrangement there were great clouds. The darkness was blinding. The night was very fearsome. No person walked anywhere. On that very fearsome night, each thief armed himself with 5 or 10 weapons. They approached the house. Then every thief became blind. No one had the power to see. They could not see anything. All the thieves were now blind. Each of them felt his mind, intelligence, and breath were under attack. One of them fell into a ditch and was ferociously bitten by mosquitoes and leeches. Another fell into a garbage pit and was ferociously bitten by mosquitoes and scorpions. Another fell among thorns, his every limb wounded by the thorns, and he had no power to move. Another fell into a canal, his hands and feet broken. He wept. another burnt with fever. Every thief felt terror in his heart. At that moment, the demigod Indra sent a great rainstorm to that very place. The thief, bitten by mosquitoes and leeches, was especially tortured by the rainstorm. Then hailstones fell on the thieves' bodies. It could not save their lives. Everyone was plunged in an ocean of sufferings. One of the thieves became dizzy and fell down. Forgetting who he was filled with terror. An endless rainstorm fell on the thieves. Their bodies trembled from the freezing cold. Now blind, the thieves had no power to see. Attacked by freezing rain, they were on the verge of death. Aware that these people were enemies of Lord Nityananda, the demigod Indra became angry and tortured them very badly. After some moments, the Brahmin, who was commander of the little army of thieves, suddenly became fortunate. Now he understood. In his heart, the Brahmin thought, Nityananda is not a human being. In truth, he must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. How can anyone say he's a human being? One day he bewildered us, made us all fall asleep. Still, because of his powerful Maya, I did not understand. Another day he showed us many wonderful guards, and still I did not understand. I'm a great sinner. Everything I do is bad. In my heart I wanted to rob the Supreme Lord of his wealth. Who has the power to throw me into these calamities? Lord Nityananda is my only shelter. I have no other shelter. Thinking in this way, the Brahmin meditated on Lord Nityananda's feet. With great love, he took shelter of them and surrendered himself to them. When the Brahmin meditated on Lord Nityananda's feet, the calamities suddenly stopped. At that moment, the Brahmin became free of many millions of his past offenses. The Brahmin said, save me, O Nityananda, O coward boy Krishna, O master, O protector of all living entities, please save me. A person who trips and falls to the ground takes shelter of the earth. In the same way, a person who commits offenses against you must meditate on you. Only then can he be delivered from his sufferings. You forgive all offenses. You're merciful to the fallen. I've killed many Brahmin and many cows. Oh Lord, no one is a greater offender than I am. Still, even the greatest sinners may find shelter in you and break into pieces the bonds that tie them to this world of birth and death. From the moment of birth, you protect the lives of the living entities, O Lord, and at the end of their lives, you protect them also. O Lord, please protect me today from these dangers. If I remain alive, I will have learned my lesson. Birth after birth, I'm your servant. O Lord, whether I live or die, I only wish to be your servant. Hearing these words, merciful Lord Nityananda delivered all the thieves. In this way, the thieves became conscious again. Their eyes were suddenly released from the blindness. By the power of the thief's surrender to Lord Nityananda, the terrible rainstorm no longer fell. After some moments, the thieves again could see the path. They walked as if they were on the verge of death. They went to their homes and then bathed in the Ganga. The commander of the little army of thieves wept and wept. In his heart, he took shelter of Lord Nityananda's feet. Meanwhile, Lord Nityananda, who is the master of all the world, sat down and placed his merciful glance on the fallen souls. In the four directions, the devotees sang the holy names of Lord Hari. Lord Nityananda, the jewel of Avadutas, roared with bliss. At that moment, the Brahmin thief came, lifted his arms, called out, save me, and offered dandavat obeisances. From head to feet, the hairs of his body stood erect. From him, an unending stream of tears flowed, and he trembled. Again and again, the Brahmin roared and thundered with ecstatic love. He was not in external consciousness. He wept. Gazing at Lord Nityananda's glory, the Brahmin joyfully danced. Save me, Father Nityananda, purifier of the fallen, the Brahmin roared, his arms raised. Seeing this, the devotees became filled with wonder. How did the thief become like this? One devotee said, it's a trick, it's a sham. Any moment he'll attack us. Another devotee said, Lord Nityananda is the purifier of the fallen. By his mercy, this man has become good at heart. Seeing the endless symptoms of the Brahmin's devotional ecstasy, Lord Nityananda gently smiled and asked a question. The Lord said, what has become of you, O Brahmin? Please tell me. I see that your activities have become wonderful. What have you seen? What have you heard of Lord Krishna's glories? Without worrying and without trickery, please tell us everything." Hearing the Lord's words, the saintly Brahmin had no power to say anything. He only wept. He fell to the ground and rolled in the courtyard. Spontaneously he laughed, wept, danced, and sang. After some time the Brahmin became peaceful, and he said to Lord Nityananda, "Lord, my home is in Nadia. I am a Brahmin in name only. My actions are those of a hunter or a Chandala. By always associating with wicked people, I became a violent thief. From the time of my birth, I have not been anything but that. When they see me, everyone in Navadvip trembles in fear. There is not a sin that does not rest in my body. When I saw your glistening ornaments in my heart, I decided to rob them. One night, I came with my band of thieves to rob the treasures that decorate your graceful limbs. Lord, that night, you bewildered us all. Bewildered by your Maya, I did not know who you were. Another night, after worshipping Goddess Durga in many ways, and armed with swords, daggers, and tridents, we came again. That night we saw a great wonder. Your house was surrounded by guards. Each guard was powerful like a mad elephant. Each wore a flower garland from his neck to his knees. As the holy name of Lord Hari stayed in every guard's mouth, you happily slept in the house. I was so sinful at heart that even then I did not understand your glories. Whose guards are these? From where did they come? Thinking these thoughts, I left. After some days I came again last night, but at once my eyes were blinded. When I came with my band of thieves, we surrounded your house, and we all became blind, and we fell into different situations. We were bitten by mosquitoes, leeches, and drones. There were torrential rains and a hailstorm. We suffered badly. We had no power to move. First we suffered Yamaraj's tortures. Then at the end, we became your devotees. By your mercy, with unalloyed love, we meditated on your feet. Then you restored vision to our eyes. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purifier of the fallen. Simply by thinking of you, we all escape the tortures of Yamaraj. How great is your glory! Simply by remembering you, a person breaks the bonds of ignorance and easily goes to Vaikuntha. Speaking and speaking in this way, the Brahmin loudly wept. In this way, Lord Nityananda manifested his pastimes. Hearing these words, everyone bowed down before the Brahmin. Then the Brahmin said, "Lord, please give me permission to depart. No longer do I wish to keep this body alive. In my heart, I desire to harm you. Therefore, my penance is that I will die by drowning in the Ganga." Hearing the Brahmin's sincere words, Lord Nityananda and the devotees became pleased. Lord Nityananda said, "Brahmin, you're very fortunate. Birth after birth, you're Lord Krishna's servant. If you had not attained the Lord's mercy, how could all those events have passed? How could they have passed if you were not a servant of the Lord? Lord Chaitanya has descended to this world to purify the fallen. It is not otherwise. Listen, Brahmin, if you commit no more sins, I will accept all your karma. Give up violence, theft, and all misdeeds. Do them no more. Walk on the path of religion, chant the holy names of Lord Hari, and then you can deliver others. Go among the thieves and criminals. Bring them all to the path of religion." Speaking these words, Lord Nityananda took the garland from his own neck and happily gave it to the Brahmin. There was a great sound of Jai, Jai. The Brahmin was now free of all material bondage. The Brahmin spoke words choked with emotion. Grasping Lord Nityananda's feet, he wept and wept. He called out, "Lord Nityananda, Master, purifier of the sinners, please give the shelter of your feet to me, a sinner. In my heart I wished you harm. Who is more sinful than me?" Then Lord Nityananda, who's an ocean of mercy, placed his lotus feet on the Brahmin's head. When his head received the mercy of Lord Nityananda's feet, the Brahmin's offenses were all broken into pieces. Whenever thieves came to his door, the Brahmin guided them on the path of religion. He taught them to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Renouncing theft, violence, and all misdeeds, they all became very saintly. They all chanted the holy names of Lord Hari hundreds, thousands of times. They all became expert in devotional service to Lord Vishnu. Wild with love for Lord Krishna, Lord Nityananda always sang Lord Krishna's holy names. In this way, Lord Nityananda is an ocean of mercy. In no other incarnation did the Supreme Lord act in this way. Lord Nityananda always chanted Chaitanya. A Brahmin who does not honor Lord Nityananda becomes counted among the thieves and ruffians. By Lord Nityananda's power, these thieves and ruffians attained ecstatic devotional service. Devotional service where the devotee weeps, trembles, shouts, and finds the hairs of his body standing erect. Devotional service the kings of yoga yearn to attain. Oh, my brothers, please worship Lord Nityananda. By his mercy you will attain Lord Chaitanya. Anyone who hears these stories of Lord Nityananda will someday meet Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who with an attentive heart hears the pastime of the thieves' deliverance will someday see Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. In this way, Lord Nityananda fearlessly and joyfully enjoyed many pastimes. Wandering in village after village with his associates, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes of kirtan. In this way, he visited Kanachura, Baragachi, Dagachia, and, on the other side of the Ganga, Kulia. The people of Baragachi were very pious. Their village was an important place of Lord Nityananda's pastimes. No one has the power to describe the glory and good fortune of Baragachi. Lord Nityananda associates were always very joyful at heart. They did nothing but sankirtan. Moment after moment they became more and more wrapped in the ecstasy of being gopas. They carried sticks, flutes, buffalo horns, and rope for tying cows. They wore ganja necklaces. On their wrists were bracelets, and on their ankles, anklets. Ecstatic love for Lord Krishna was always present in their bodies. They were attracted to Lord Krishna. They wept and trembled. The hairs of their bodies stood erect. They were very handsome. It was as if they were not different from Kamadev himself, and they always performed Sankirtan. Accompanied by their master, fearless Lord Nityananda, these devotees were always joyful. Even in 100 years, I could not describe all the glories of Lord Nityananda's servants. Still, I will at least tell their names, as far as I know them. Simply by remembering their names, one crosses beyond this world of birth and death. In their company, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes. They are all eternal associates of Maharaj Nanda. They are gopas and gopis descended to this world. Lord Nityananda has forbidden us. He said that their previous names should not be revealed or written. Ramdas was one of the Lord's important associates. He always spoke in the mood of Supreme Lord himself. No one had the power to understand his words. Lord Nityananda always stayed in his heart. Ramdas was always in the grip of intense ecstatic love. For 3 months, Lord Krishna personally stayed in his body. Murari Pandit was a famous devotee of Lord Chaitanya. He would play with snakes and tigers. Raghunath Vaidya Upadhyaya was very noble-hearted. His glance made every heart fall in love with Lord Krishna. Gadadhar Das always tasted the nectar of ecstatic love and devotion. His glance destroyed all sins. The devotee named Sundaranandana was like a nectar ocean of ecstatic love. He was one of the most important of Lord Nityananda's associates. Kamalakanta Pandit was always wild with ecstasy, and Lord Nityananda gave the village of Shaptagram to him. Gauridas Pandit was very glorious and fortunate. With body, mind, and words, he served Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda was his very life. Purandar Pandit was very peaceful and self-controlled. He was very dear to Lord Nityananda. Parameshwari Das considered Lord Nityananda his very life. In his body, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes. Dhananjaya Pandit was very exalted. At every moment, Lord Nityananda stayed in his heart. Balaram Das was always wild from tasting the nectar of ecstatic love. The breeze that blew past him destroyed all sins. Yadunath Kaviraj was always filled with the nectar of ecstatic love. Lord Nityananda was always merciful to him. Jagadish Pandit was the mode of great effulgence. Jagadish Pandit was the abode of great effulgence. Lord Nityananda and Lord Nityananda's associates were his life and his wealth. Purushottama Pandit was born in Navadvip. In his heart, he was a great servant of Lord Nityananda. In the beginning of Lord Nityananda stayed in his home. His mercy makes one's heart drawn to Lord Nityananda. Dvija Krishnadas was born in Radhadesh. He enjoyed pastimes with Lord Nityananda's associates. Kaliya Krishnadas is famous in the three worlds. By remembering him, one attains Lord Chaitanya. Shada Shiva Kaviraj was very glorious and fortunate. His son was named Purushottama Das. External consciousness was never present in Purushottama Das' body. In his heart, Lord Nityananda always enjoyed pastimes. Udaranadat was a noble and generous Vaishnav. He was very qualified to serve Lord Nityananda. Mahesh Pandit was very exalted. Paramananda Upadhyaya was a pure Vaishnav. Gangadas was the son of Chaturabhuja Pandit. In the beginning, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes in Gangadas's home. Acharya Vaishnavananda was very noble and generous. In the beginning, he was known by the name of Raghunath Puri. Saintly Paramananda Gota was very famous. In the beginning, Lord Nityananda stayed at his home. Krishnadas was a saintly resident of Baragachi. In his home, Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes. Krishnadas and Devananda were both very pure at heart. Exalted Acharya Chandra had Lord Nityananda as his only shelter. Saintly Madhava Ghosh was a singer. Vasudev Ghosh also tasted the nectar of ecstatic love. Jiva Pandit was very noble, generous, glorious, and fortunate. Lord Nityananda enjoyed pastimes in his home. The four devotees, Manohar, Narayan, Krishnadas, and Devananda, were very dear to Lord Nityananda. Even if I had 100 years to do it, I would not have the power to write about all of Lord Nityananda's servants. Thousands and thousands of devotees were Lord Nityananda's servants. For all of them, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda were their life and wealth. By Lord Nityananda's mercy, they all became wild by tasting the nectar of love for Lord Chaitanya. The little that I know I have written. Later, Veda Vyas will reveal everything. At the end of all these servants is Vrndavana Das, who was born from the womb of Narayani, the Narayani who tasted the remnants of Lord Chaitanya's meal. Even today it is heard among the Vaishnavas, Narayani tasted the remnants of Lord Chaitanya's meal. The two moons of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda are my life and soul. I, Vrndavana Das, sing the glories of their feet.